The new week has started and Detective Komiko's case is finally closing, but don't worry, we have another mysterious banner coming up, and as usual I'm here to talk about it and give you some recommendations on if you should summon, skip or whatever else. I'm Katsuma Gaming, let's get right into this. The next banner will be the so-called, which is a really funny name, Meow Meow Cat Ear Miko Recruit banner. We had called it the Nico Miko banner in the JP version because, well, Nico, Cat, Miko, Shrine Maiden banner. So funny that they made it like cat ear, but still kept the Miko part, not like Shrine Maiden banner or something like that. But I guess maybe just for the length of the banner or something like that, that's the best case. But we are getting 2 new pullable units and a beautiful new welfare. As you can clearly see on screen here, the 2 new units that we are getting are Yunyun Crimson Demon Miko and Chris. Welcome to the Cat Ear Shrine with a beautiful welfare aqua that's called Hello Meow, which is why this name? It sounds so weird. Why Hello Meow? I mean, in the Japanese version was Hello Nya. So I guess makes sense like Sunrise translation, but still, I think it's kind of funny. We ignore the human ears. They're like no human ears here, right? You can see no ears to be seen. That's just the skin from the head, right? No ears. That they're just cat ears. Okay. With that out of the way, let's take a quick look what the units can do, how I rank them, and then talk about if you should summon on them or not. First, let's take at the kit of those units, and we're starting off here with Chris. First information, these units are limited. So, you know, wait for the rerun if you don't pull here or pull them here. First out of the way. And now let's take a look at their kit. Chris has, as usual, a 6% physical attack passive trait. I think at that point it's not surprising that most normal units have a normal passive trait, aka attack boosting stuff or magic attack boosting stuff. The kit here is rather interesting though. First skill is a double random hit that deals 165 damage 2 times, and it provides a party tier 1 earth damage buff EX. That's the big one here, EX, because that means she works great with Forbidden Wiz, who has a self earth damage buff, but of course EX can coexist with normal buffs. And to be honest, 10 seconds duration with 70 seconds downtime is pretty good, but it has one big problem I'm gonna talk about in a second. Second skill is an AOE physical attack skill that deals up to 116% damage when the HP is 70% or above, and it provides a party tier 2 agility buff for 12 seconds with an 18 seconds downtime. Her basic is sadly a neutral basic, and that summarizes her kit, which on paper doesn't seem too bad. There is a few things that I want to mention here. First up, pros are of course tier 2 speed and earth damage EX boost are really good, and she has a pretty decent damage. Of course also Kekkers are always a welcome thing. It took a while for them to arrive on Konosuba, but they're finally here. The big problems that we have here is the duration and the cooldowns. If you think of the most optimal Earth team, let's say we're running, you know, Megumin, Wiz, Vanir, something like that. Wiz already has a speed boost herself, so she doesn't benefit that much from that speed boost. Migu would benefit from that, but then of course we are delaying Vanir in the back, and with that we have no CDR, so you can't keep the speed boost the whole time. You can't cap the earth damage boost. If you decide to replace, you know, this, then I guess it makes more sense, but then you don't have Wiz and buff early and stuff like that. She's also kind of a mixed unit by having decent AoE skill, but also a single target skill, so she can be used for both, but is not the best in either. And yeah, she's just rather hard to slot in. I think the one time we used her, we just gave her, she came in like at the end when a unit fainted as a slot 4 unit to come in, provide the buffs, apply the speed boost ASAP, and allow units to do some pretty damage in the end there. but I think she was never actually used as a front or main unit, and that's her biggest problem. Even if you use her with Vanir, let's say in a single target arena, you have 6 seconds of CDR in that team, and the downtime on a double hit is 17 seconds, so you will never be able to get the double hit off while the buff is still active in the most optimal team. And with that, her damage is just not that great. And she has some use cases, but I don't think she should be that high on a priority list. So I think if you are just going to want to go for Chris, do it if you think she's a wife and you want to have her. If you just go for pure power, she's a nice pickup, but 100% not a must-have unit to pull. The second unit is a little bit different though. I teased it before, but I want to mention it here as well. With the end of the Funidodo banner, we are moving now into a timeline that means units are less OP in general, but more niche case. And this Yunyun is a great example for that. I also talk about why they're both just S+ here in a second. Turkey, don't worry. Only Despair, sorry. Again, limited unit, Earth unit, 6% magic attack, passive rate. The first skill is an AOE magic attack skill that scales on HP to deal up to 191% damage and applies a tier 2 magic defense debuff on an enemy for 12 seconds on a 20-second duration. And the second skill is an AOE magic attack skill that deals up to 140% damage when HP is 70% or above, and a tier 2 Rash Red for 10 seconds with an 18 seconds cooldown. Basic here is, as usual with mage units, Earth Elemental Basic, and that is her kit. Let's talk about her pros and cons. First con, that's right in the face, she's a pure AOE unit. You only want to use her in AOE arenas, and more specifically, you want to use her with other mage units because she provides the magic defense down buff. So this unit is only good in the case of the enemy is either just weak to magic units or magic team is the most optimal team, and there are multiple enemies in the final wave, so the AOE skill is worth it. And the big thing here as well, the AOE mobs are somewhat tanky enough that they survive for at least, let's say, 60 to 70% of the run. If the units just die too fast, then her value actually falls off quite a bit. So she has a specific niche case where you can use her, and in that case she's amazing. She has great AOE damage, she synergizes really well with magical units, she has AOE Rash Red, she can buff your whole team with her ulti, she provides AOE Rash Red for tier 2, which is all in itself really cool. One downside here as well are the durations and the cooldowns. With 6 seconds CDR from Vanir, you have a 2-second duration where there's no Rash Red on the mob, so you will never get the Rash Red off with the Rash Red still being active. Same with the magical defense down. And also both kits have rather similar duration, so it's most of the time you apply Rash Red, you apply the magical defense down, then they both run out pretty much at the same time, or like 1 second delay, something like that, if you have tier 2 speed boost in your team or something. And it feels a bit weird to use, but she's still really strong, generally speaking, in her specific niche case. And that for me explains their S+ rating. They are really good if there is a specific niche case. For example, Chris can be really good in the physical team where she provides speed boost, where you have maybe 2 CR units so you can actually loop your stuff properly. She can be the buffer, speed boost unit, earth damage buff all in one, which per se is great. But of course, Earth physical teams are like non-existent at the moment. But there are future Earth units where we can potentially use her. Again, we don't have accelerators, so maybe that actually helps the Chris to be a bit more relevant. We'll see, we'll have to wait. But that's for me the reason why I didn't give them higher ratings. They can be good in their specific cases, otherwise they are not good. And while there might be like SS or something like that in their specific case, they are not all the time SS, and that's why I actually put their rankings down a bit. And for the global tier list rankings, they are in scroll down here, strong unit tier list. You can see both Chris and Yunyun are in there. You could maybe argue they're like more niche case units and should be in a tier down there, but I think they're still strong nonetheless, and you can still use them, especially if you're liking other units and other meta units. In that case, they are just, again, more value again. So while they in theory are more niche case units, they are generally speaking still strong units, because let's be real, even in a single target arena, tier 2 Reshred plus magic defense down plus buffing is still good. It's just the personal damage will be a little bit lacking in that regard. Same with Chris. She has a good single target skill for single target arena. She has still decent damage in AOE arenas with a second skill. She still provides enough utility for your team that you can justify using her. It's just that team building around her is a little bit harder. I hope that makes sense by the ranking. Also, one thing that I want to mention here regarding the Encyclopedia: don't give too much anymore about these rankings, specifically for all the units. I made these rankings when the unit dropped in the JP version, with that aka roughly a year ago for this Yunyun, and back then of course she was potentially higher ranked than she would be now. Maybe I actually lowered the rank of a unit before, or maybe not. It really comes down to what time period it was, and did I just move past and was like, yeah, let's rank it down or not. I still try to figure out a time frame where I just dedicate like a week into purely updating the Encyclopedia, which would mean 1 week of no streams, potentially 1 week of no YouTube videos as well. Or I just, you know, go online, stream and edit the Encyclopedia or something like that. I still have to figure out when I want to do it. I actually just started planning my vacations finally, so maybe in a month or so, when I have a week off, I just try to tackle an 8-hour stream with just revamping the Encyclopedia or something like that. But because of that, I wouldn't say these rankings are perfect anymore. Mostly look at the pros and cons, I would think, and just think a little bit about the unit, what you can see here, and based on that, what you think. And of course, best case is just look at the global tier list, because that should be always hopefully up to date regarding units' strength. Last thing I want to mention here, we have now confirmation that the collaborations are coming, so I will probably update the tier list this week to include the collaboration units. I still need to think how I want to rank them, since they're a little bit older units, right? Makes sense that I need to reevaluate the place for them in the tier list. I was thinking about just waiting for the newcomers to drop before I actually make the tier list, but I think that will be too late. So expect a smaller tier list update sooner than later, including the collaboration units, probably with the banner guide or something like that, worst case. And then the big update for the tier list once the newcomers for the next month get officially announced. With that, this is, I think, everything I have to say in the video. If you want to support what I do, especially the Encyclopedia, check out the cover link down below. You can see it in the bottom of the video, right? All of the money that you drop there, even if the goal says something different, just goes into motivating me and dedicating my time into the Encyclopedia. So the more support it gets, the more time I can actually drop into the Encyclopedia. Of course, otherwise, just like, subscribe, follow for more content. Let me know in the comments if you pull on the spanner or if you're skipping on a spanner. Let me also know in the comment what would be your priority for the Encyclopedia. Would it just be fix all the units, start finally with the global elemental tier list? Would it be something completely new, like team building? I don't know, something like that. Let me know. I gladly see what you guys think, what I should prioritize on, and maybe based on that decide what I want to do next year. But of course, like subscribing and stuff like that would help me out a ton. If you want to support me more and not just for Encyclopedia itself, feel free to subscribe on Twitch, become a member on YouTube to get awesome benefits like a specific Discord role, getting shoutouts in videos, well, once people actually claims that tier. I'm still waiting for that to be like, thank you so much to where you can make funny names and let me say funny things because you have a funny name on Patreon, like on YouTube, whatever. So yeah, all of that support would be greatly appreciated. And of course, thank you so much for watching. See you all in the next one. Bye.